Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming. I got some interesting subjects to hit today. I've been on a Kent Hovind kick lately, probably because I've been going through his whole seminar series, and I released a video on my main channel about him earlier today. Just kind of a full breakdown, and I actually have a script already written for a part 2 with Kent Hovind, because I feel like we have underestimated just how much of a cult Dinosaur Adventureland is. I'm 100% serious. It is one of the most extreme cults out there, and people are completely ignoring it. So I'm gonna, like I said, I did a script. I'm gonna do a full video on it soon. But anyway, I do want to cover him generally because there's stuff happening over there in Dinosaur Adventureland that's absolutely psychotic. We'll get there. For the moment, check this out, guys. I wrote this really cool program I call Clippy. And Clippy, I use it to download clips for like when I cover things, on YouTube. I just paste a bunch of URLs in here, like from the twit or whatever, and I hit start queue. And I download everything. Anyway, I also have a video analysis tool here where I can type in like the URL and some instructions for like what kind of thing to look for. Like I just ran an analysis on a Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes video. And in the description, I instructed it to look for any sections that show like Nazi positions, far-right opinions, anti-Israel sentiment, that kind of thing. And it came up, thanks. And it came up with this. It picked out a few really interesting spots, like speaker describes a specific moment where Mark Levin discussed the demographic changes in America, which radicalized their views on race and immigration. Then it's got some routine stuff. The speaker explains their mindset leading into college and their strong support for Donald Trump during the 2016 election, that kind of thing. I also ran an analysis on Scott Adams and the fact that he has prostate cancer, I believe. He announced it on his channel recently, and it was like a 45-minute long video. So I sent it through my analysis to try to find the spots where he's actually talking about it. Mentions political opposition and personal resilience in facing criticism, references proton therapy treatment and potential medical innovations that might emerge due to his public diagnosis. Anyway, so I've run some analyses, including an analysis on Kent Hovind's jail phone calls, like the calls he made from prison, like 15 years ago, whenever he was in there. And I looked for anything related to the IRS or lies or, underhanded dirty tactics, that kind of thing. So I'm going to just kind of glance through the jail phone calls later. I'm just checking my video analysis, my reports. Okay, cool. But for now, let's talk about something. What do I have here? I've got Fuentes. I've got Joel Webbin, Halloween, food stamps, Hovind prison calls, and Hovind's ex-girlfriend. All right, let's hit Fuentes. Let me just open a few Fuentes clips. Pretty soon I'm going to add a feature to Clippy, which is the name of my app that I wrote. I am live, right? I just want to make sure everything is working correctly. I think I'm good. Anyway, soon I'm going to add a new feature to the app where I'm going to be able to hit clip next to any one of these like spots, and it's going to take me to a screen where I can like pick out a little section of the video, and I'm going to have FFmpeg cut that video and save it to my drive so that I'll have the clips. That's going to be super convenient. Oh my God. A lot of work ahead, though. That's going to take so much time and effort. It's crazy. So anyway, if only it were PC. It is. Because it's Electron, which means it runs on everything. It's basically just a web browser that uses Angular and everything, but it's a custom web browser, like an individual. If you really want a copy, then message me on Discord. I'll send you the copy, and I'll try to get it to work for Windows. I am gonna have to do a little bit of finagling to get it to work on Windows, but I think I can get it running if you want it. Anyway, all right, let's cover Fuentes, shall we? Oh, I also wanted to talk about Conservapedia and Grokopedia. Yeah, okay. We'll talk about that later. All right, cool. This is Nick Fuentes. If you're unfamiliar, he's like a far-right, literal Nazi, like Hitler-loving, Sieg-heiling Nazi, right? And he went on Tucker Carlson's show recently and said some real psychotic stuff. Oh my God, dude. He is on an upswing at this immediate moment. Like the Nazi movement in the U.S. is on a massive upswing. It's disturbing. And I looked at a recent poll that said basically 71% of Republicans support Israel. And in my mind, there are basically two camps of Republicans. There are Christian nationalist Zionists who believe that Jesus can't return until Israel fully belongs to the Jews, and then he'll return at the site of the third temple, blah, 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 all that junk. And neo-Nazis. Those are the two groups in the Republican Party. So 71% of the Republican Party supports Israel, and 29%, I guess, do not support Israel. They support Palestine explicitly. And I'm taking that as a sign of roughly what percent of the Republican Party is made up of neo-Nazis. Now, Nick Fuentes pretty much runs the neo-Nazi wing of the Republican Party. He is the head of the Groyper movement, as they call it. So let's listen to what he had to say on Tucker Carlson. This is just a compilation of a few quick clips, and we'll dive into it a little bit more in a minute.
It was December 18th. I remember because that's an important date to me. And it's Joseph Stalin's birthday. Oh, I'm a fan.
He's a fan of Stalin. I did not know that. That actually blows me away. I am surprised by that. Because he's also a fan of Hitler. Like, he has said that. He has said those words, I like Hitler. And they didn't exactly get along. But I guess it's the authoritarianism that he likes the most about each of them. See if I can find that clip from Fuentes where he says that. Hang on, let me see. Just a second. Let me see if I can find it. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find it right now. Yeah, I'm having trouble finding that specific clip, but wait, let me just search on the twit. Let me just search the twit. Of course, Fuentes famously hung out with Kanye West. He went on Alex Jones with Kanye West. And Kanye, while on the show with Nick and Alex Jones, said, I love Hitler. Let me just find it. Hold on. Here it is. Yeah, this is just an example. So right here is Nick Fuentes on the right with Kanye West. Fuentes was like a political operative for Kanye West when he was running for president, quote unquote.
Good guy. I get the Hugo Boss uniforms, amazing. But I mean, just because you're in love with the design, you're a designer. Can we just kind of say like you like the uniforms, but that's about it?
No, there's a lot of things that I love about Hitler. A lot of things. Hey.
Anyway, wow. Sorry. Just had food go down the wrong pipe. And it was spicy too, so that's fantastic. If Fuentes actually debated Alex Jones later, like a month after this, on whether Hitler was a good guy, Fuentes held the position that Hitler was good. I mean, that should tell you all you need to know about him.
You're a fan of Stalin's.
Mm-hmm. Always an admirer. But
was it because of the extreme crackdowns? Because he destroyed his political opponents, killed them brutally? What? Dude, I saw somebody on Reddit the other day talking about how great of a guy Stalin was. Like, what the fuck? How did we get here, of all places? Like, Stalin ostensibly, at face value, supported workers' rights, but he didn't. That's the thing. He didn't. If you're pro-Stalin, you're pro-violence, pro-destroying people's lives, pro-authoritarianism. Stalin is not known for supporting workers like he claimed to. He was a monster.
we don't need to go.
And this is all the evidence you should need. The fact that this neo-Nazi supports him, right?
But we don't need to go into that. The other thing I'm really worried about is what's happening at these ICE detention centers. And I see all the ingredients of like a low-boil civil conflict, full-blown civil war.
If you're the president, what do you do about that?
I think maybe this is controversial, but they have to crush the other side. Like, it has to be crushed. But if you do anything less than that, if you do in the middle, all you're doing is antagonizing and feeding the other side. If I were Trump, I would say screw 200 National Guard, like arrest the mayor of Chicago, like arrest the governor.
Fuentes is actually anti-Trump right now. He's on an anti-Trump kick because Trump is not being violent enough, because he's not deporting enough people. Seriously. He said he's going to burn his MAGA hat recently because he's not doing enough deportations. Fuentes said Trump promised us 3,000 deportations a day, and he's only doing like 700. And they used to tell us what the number was. They reported the number, but they stopped reporting the number not too long ago. And Fuentes says that's because they know that they're not doing enough deportations, basically.
Shut it down. Bring in the troops and say the federal government is supreme. The immigration law is the law of the land. If you're not on board with that, you're going to jail.
So regarding Fuentes and Trump, wait, is this? No, this is pre-assassination. Here, this is one I was looking for right here.
I never told anybody to vote for Kamala, and I didn't either. I think she would have been a disaster in her own special way. But I said in some ways, this makes her less dangerous in a certain sense, because if she did the things that Trump is doing now, nobody would stomach it. If she buried the Epstein files, there'd be a riot in the streets. If she bombed Iran, every conservative would be speaking out.
He did not like the Iran thing at all. He fucking hates Israel because Jews live there, and that's like basically the only reason. He doesn't support Palestine. He just fucking hates Jews.
And screaming in opposition, except for maybe Mark Levin. If she said, we're going to give an amnesty for the farm workers, which, by the way, that's a Biden program. Biden was going to do that. If she did it, nobody would be defending it. But because it's Trump, because it's him, there's going to be a major section of the right wing of the disaffected white working class that's going to find every excuse to say it's all part of the plan. Here's why it's actually a good thing. You know, TikTok, we just have to wait a few more years. And then, you know, Guantanamo Bay, QAnon is going to be lining up James Comey and, you know, all these other people. So in some sense, there's a special danger with Trump, which is, and I said this at the beginning of the year, it's this exuberance. He really came in the second term, and I think maybe that's what it is, thinking he could get away with anything, thinking, and you know, you can almost empathize with that mindset. If you survived what he survived, if you've been through what he's been through in the past 10 years, you would think, I'm Napoleon, I'm crowning myself, like I'm untouchable. And it's July, we're halfway through the first year, And he's losing even as you said, he's even lost cat turd. Even cat turd.
Again, Trump is scandal proof, actually. And he does things that piss people off. And at this moment in history, this is mid-July 2025, he had done something that Trump supporters didn't like. I think it was the Epstein file thing. But it faded to the background, and he lost almost no support. There's a contingency of MAGA-Potamians who will never deviate from Trump. He could literally take advantage of a child on video in front of the world, and it would not matter to 35%, in my opinion, of the U.S. Here's another video of Fuentes turning on Trump.
I'm done playing these games. I just see these people. And for somebody that's been doing it for not even as long as him, but I've been doing this for 8 years since the first Trump administration started. I've seen it for so long, and Trump's just not getting it right. And I just shake my head. I see these people. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to make our voice heard. We're going to tell them we really don't want an amnesty. And I just shake my head. I'm like, yeah, sorry, I'm not doing it. I won't do it. And I think the only solution is this. We need to burn our MAGA hats. I think that's a solution. That's the only language Trump will understand.
I find it fascinating that this guy is kind of leading the opposition to Trump in the Republican Party. And wildly, he is to Trump's right, as if it was even possible.
Needs to be abandoned at this point. You bombed Iran. You're talking about an amnesty for illegals. And people say, well, maybe he'll do it, maybe he won't. It doesn't. You shouldn't be talking about an amnesty. You said mass deportations. Now you're talking about we're going to let these illegals stay in our country and take our jobs. What was the point of any of it? And then before we can even digest that crap, now he's going to tell us there's no Epstein black book. There's no client list. The message needs to be this. We're done. We don't understand. The radical right is fucking furious. We are done. Forget the midterms. Forget 28. Fuck you. Fuck Vance. The GOP. All of it.
What disturbs me about Fuentes is you can only really cancel somebody once. So you better make it good. Because whatever it is that they do, if they survive, all of their followers that come in afterward are, by definition, going to be okay with that thing that they were canceled over. They're going to move their moral compass that much to allow themselves to listen to him and watch him and appreciate the things that he says. I don't think that cancel culture is a problem. Quote unquote cancel culture. I think that's like a made up term that the right uses for when they want to be racist and they have to face accountability. But sometimes people do jump the gun a little bit on making a big public spectacle of something that people did, and when it's not worth it, when it's really not quite bad enough to justify. And if that happens and they survive, they come out the other side even worse. Look at Donald Trump. Literally took advantage of women and was found civilly liable for that in court. Committed 34 felonies. Was charged and sentenced. He committed an insurrection on the U.S. Capitol. And everybody is just okay with that because they had already moved their moral compass that much to be okay with him in the first place. And I guarantee that the vast majority of Trump supporters, they probably don't know all the shit that he did, right? But they support him. So when somebody says, how can you support somebody that takes advantage of women, or how can you support an insurrectionist, or this or that, or whatever other thing that he's done, when someone says that, they are now in the position where they have to defend it. They are in the defensive position against it, and it locks them into their position even deeper. Anyway, Fuentes disturbs the hell out of me because he's very well spoken. He's very intelligent. He knows what he's talking about. And he knows how to manipulate the media like nobody's business. And he is scandal-proof now. He survived a canceling. He said a bunch of Nazi shit and a bunch of, Breitbart and Glenn Beck and some other news agencies or media personalities or whatever said, I'm cutting ties with him, I'm done. This is like years ago. And here he is on Tucker Carlson. He went on Patrick Bet-David. He's famous again. Fuentes is now scandal-proof, which is a prerequisite to a personality cult, being scandal-proof. That's concerning. Tell me what you think in the comments. Sorry. All right. Well, you know what? Let me just play a couple more clips of Fuentes so you have an idea of what kind of a scumbag he is.
J.D. Vance also has a non-white wife, an Indian wife, and a kid named Vivek. All his kids have Indian names. So it's like, what exactly are we getting here? And that's not a dig at him just because I'm a racist or something. But it's like, who is this guy really? Do we really expect that the guy who has an Indian wife and named their kid Vivek is going to support white identity? Like, there's a white genocide going on in the world. White people are being systematically replaced in America and Europe.
It's just complete nonsense, obviously.
Through immigration and to a much lesser extent due to intermarrying. This guy has a non-white wife and a kid named Vivek.
Due to intermarrying. Obviously, he's against interracial marriage.
This guy is going to be a defender of white identity? I don't think so. This guy's going to defend American identity? If he does, it's going to be no better than any of these other civic nationalists like Vivek Ramaswamy.
I think the name is Vivek, but okay. You get the idea. This is one of his more famous moments recently. After Trump won, he did this. Wait, what's going on? Where's my audio? Hold on.
It's...
Yeah, here we go.
Feel when we control your bodies. Hey, bitch, we control your bodies. Guess what? Guys win again, okay? Men win again. And yes, we control your bodies. Hi, I'm your Republican congressman. Hi, I'm your Republican congressman. It's your body, my choice. And men, women again. Men win again. There will never, ever be a female president.
This got people to come to his house and kind of harass him. Somebody showed up after that.
Hi. Oh my God, what are you doing?
And he pepper sprayed her.
Get the fuck out of here.
Pepper sprayed her, pushed her off the porch, got arrested for battery, assault and battery. Anyway, he's just a complete scumbag, is the point. Tell me what you think in the comments. I'm really disturbed by the fact that he has kind of gained so much prominence and power recently. Let's see. What do I want to cover? Let's hit food stamps. All right, cool. At this immediate moment in time, food stamps, the food stamp program, SNAP, has been halted by the federal government. And, I mean, by Donald Trump specifically. The USDA dispenses food stamp money to the states, and the states manage the program directly. And the USDA, so food stamps are an entitlement program, which means we're entitled to it because it's our fucking money. Uniquely, in a unique way that, like, income tax money is not actually our money. It's the federal government's money, right? We're paying income tax to the federal government so that they can pay FBI agents and, you know, whatever other thing the federal government does. That's not our money when it comes out of our income taxes, right? But food stamps are our money, uniquely. It comes from a trust fund that we pay a special tax into every month. FICA taxes. I think it's like 15% or something, and your employer pays half of that. That's what it means when people say we're entitled to it. It's an entitlement. It's our money. Well, Trump decided that he just wasn't going to dispense the money. And he decided to blame Democrats for it incorrectly. It's not Democrats' fault. It's Trump's fault. Now, a judge recently determined that Trump has to disperse the funds. And I doubt that's going to happen, honestly. He's just completely ignoring the court systems. Why would he? But the reaction on the right is vile and evil and disgusting and wrong. Just listen to this woman talk about food stamps. In November, of all times of year, Thanksgiving, food stamps were cut off. For something like 40 million people, I think half of whom are children.
This message is for all the people that are complaining that they're not getting their food stamps for November. What did you do with October's food stamp money?
Fucking ate it, obviously. What did you think people did with it? You think people are saving it in a bank account so they can buy a fucking house? That's not how it works. I was on food stamps for years and years and years, actually. And actually, interestingly, once I finally got on my feet and got a job in the software development field, and then eventually working as a YouTuber, I paid way more in taxes back into the system than I took out through food stamps, like by a wide margin. So you may say these people are lazy or they don't have jobs or whatever other thing, but the food stamp program is actually self-sustaining through FICA taxes, just like Medicaid and Medicare and Social Security. They're self-sustaining. It's a trust fund, like I said, unique in a way that income taxes aren't. It's in a completely different fund. These people need this food. These children need this food. And you're making fun of people. It's so incredibly vile, dude. Hang on. Let me pull up my program Clippy because I have to normalize the audio on this. It's way too quiet. Let's see. 1 second here. Callisto. Stream. Food stamps. Yes, it's this woman right here. Open. Normalize audio. This should make it louder. Give it. It's processing. All right, let's continue, and I'll pull it up in a second. Oh, it finished.
This message.
That's much better. Beautiful. I love it. 11 seconds in.
What'd you do? Did you stock up on pantry items and try to shop smartly?
Well, people do shop smart and stock up and stuff like that. But honestly, food stamp money does not go far enough a lot of the time.
Or did you just go buy a bunch of processed garbage? By the way, you can thank the Democrats for the government being shut down and your benefits not coming through for November.
No, it's Trump. It's Trump refusing to disperse the funds. And besides that, even if it was the way that she believes it is in her delusional brain, it doesn't matter because Democrats are refusing. They're not even refusing. Republicans aren't even in D.C. right now, okay? It's a temporary problem. Is going to go away sometime soon. But for the record, Republicans just aren't taking calls. They're not meeting with people. They're not even in Washington, D.C. when they're supposed to be in session right now. Even if Democrats wanted to work with Republicans, they couldn't because no one is answering the phone. But Republicans right now are holding the entire government hostage and refusing to fund it unless Democrats agree to erase Obamacare subsidies, which is going to double or triple your healthcare costs. Do you know what my healthcare costs every month? $1,200 a month right now. $1,200 a month. $1,200. And if Democrats do work with Republicans to get rid of those subsidies, it's going to go up to about $3,000, $4,000 a month, probably. That is like significantly more than I even pay in rent. And I don't think that my healthcare is even doing anything for me, honestly. Certainly not $1,200 a month worth. I'd be better off putting that money in a savings account and using it to pay for hospital bills or whatever. Like, that's how worthless healthcare is in the United States right now. And Republicans are trying to destroy it even more and blaming Democrats for literally every bad thing that's going on, even though they have complete control of the House of Representatives, of the Senate, of the judiciary, and of the executive branch. Complete control, and they're blaming Democrats. This is wild, dude.
Looks like you're going to be going to the food pantry for your Thanksgiving meal. I know a lot of food pantries hand out turkeys for Thanksgiving.
And how many do you think are going to have turkeys this month? Since 40 million people aren't going to have food stamps.
All the sides and trimmings too. Lots of food pantries. You better figure it out. I'm sick of hearing you complain, honestly.
The fuck are you talking? Who are you listening to complain? Who's complaining to your ass?
You ever have this as a meal? I'm eating peanut butter and butter on toast. It's absolutely delicious.
That sounds disgusting.
You should try it. And not for nothing, I saw this woman that said she was getting $1,100 a month in food stamps.
That's possible if you have like 4 kids. Yeah, sure. Again, I had my own kid and myself on food stamps. And I think I got $500 a month, maybe. Somewhere in there. I think it averages out to like $12 a day per person or something. I'm not sure. Which is not actually very much. Hang on. That was $8 a day, I guess, at the time. So, per person. So, yeah, if she has like 3 kids plus herself, that's 4 people. $1,100 a month. Divided by 4, divided by 30. That we're talking $9. Yeah, that's about right, I'd say.
Do you know how long I could make $1,100 in food stamps last?
You personally? Like just you, not 3 other children or anything?
In this house. There's 2 of us, but I do have my son over every once in a while, or my daughters over once in a while to eat. I feed them too. And
I would love it if she stopped smacking her fucking lips into the microphone, bro. Please stop.
we always got food in our house, no matter what. I would take a 3rd job. I have 2 jobs. I would take a 3rd job if I had to.
And you think that this is good? Why the fuck are we living like this? We don't need to live like this as Americans. You work 40 hours a week. You should be able to pay for food and rent and a car and everything else. You know what it was like in the 50s? People could have jobs where they could work 40 hours a week and survive. Why the fuck do we need 2 fucking jobs now? You know why? I'll tell you why. Because billionaires are sucking up all of the revenue, all of the money, all the profits, and refusing to pay their employees jack shit because Republicans keep eroding unions. They keep destroying workers' rights. They have been for years. That's why. Really, I mean, think about how fucking vile this person is on screen, what she's doing right now. This is disgusting. Okay, the people in the lowest positions in their entire lives barely surviving. Surviving so poorly that the government of America, of all things, believes that they need assistance. And she's mocking them, making fun of them, laughing at them, by eating bread on camera while they have lost their access to food completely. That is fucking disgusting.
Just to make sure my kids ate. What are you doing for your kids besides coming on the internet and bitching?
Who is she even talking about? Who is they? Are they in the room with us right now?
You don't have any money in your food stamps account.
You know, I'll tell you how food stamps works, actually. Again, I was on food stamps for years. And I've paid that money back, like, you know, a lot more. Multiple times over. It wasn't that much money, honestly. It was like $4,000 a year or something for a few years. For me and my kid. They give you a little debit card, and this debit card only works for certain specific items. Like, you can't buy alcohol with it. You can't buy, you know, certain type. You can't buy any non-food items. You can buy some items that have food but are not like fully food-based, like a toy with a piece of candy with it or something. Sometimes you can buy certain types of those toys, but it's very limited. You can't buy diapers. You can't buy, you know, clothes that you need to clothe your children and everything. It's for a very specific, narrow set of products. Food only. And these people are, like, in the lowest point in their lives, and she is laughing at them. It's disgusting, dude. Anyway, I remembered, you know, this video right here that we have pulled up. I remembered this video from when Trump actually got in office. This girl was talking about her situation. Listen to this.
I voted for him for lower grocery prices. He promised me cheaper prices on groceries.
Says, I voted for him for lower grocery prices. If I knew my food stamps cash benefits would be taken, I wouldn't have made that decision. What do I do now?
And that has not happened. Not only has that not happened, I am getting my food stamps taken. I am getting my cash assistance taken.
Yeah, this is from like January. No, this is mid-April 2025 when this video came out. Trump has been kicking people off of food stamps through the big, beautiful bill and by other means since the beginning. But now everybody is kicked off of it effectively. Again, this is our money in a unique way that income tax is not our money. We are entitled to this because we pay into this. It is a trust fund. Let me just verify that. Yeah, it is an entitlement program. From FICA. No, okay, wait. It's not funded through FICA, apparently. It's funded through the federal budget. But it is an entitlement that we are entitled to. Uniquely. In a unique way that other programs are not.
I am getting my Section 8 taken. I am getting all my welfare governments taken. I did not ask for this.
Yes, you did. You did. As a matter of fact, you did ask for this explicitly. Donald Trump said he was going to do all this shit. Project 2025 had it right there as a line item. And your ass voted for him anyway. You dumb son of a bitch.
I would not have voted for him if I knew this was going to happen. So what do I do now? What do the people do now?
They suffer. I'm sorry to say. They suffer. We don't have another option. We don't have another outlet. Because you voted for him. He is making every part of this happen because of you. Because you made the decision to destroy countless lives. Here we are. We now suffer. That's it.
The ones that regret their vote. What do we do? I can't go out and get a regular job. And it's not even about It's not even about
ICE? Is that what she said? It is about, yeah, that's what she said. It's not even about ICE.
It's not even about, you know, these families being separated from their loved ones. It's not about these 5 and 6-year-olds getting their families taken away from them in the middle of a school day. It's not about any of that. It's about me and my food stamps.
Wow. Why am I not surprised by that? It's not about other people's suffering. It's about my suffering.
And my cash assistance. Me. That I'm the only one that matters in this country. I'm taking my life back.
So incredibly sad and stupid. So what do? We suffer. That's it. We have no other choice. We suffer. Thank you for that decision that you made for all of us to make us suffer like that. I appreciate that very much. Very nice of you. Tell me what you think in the comments. All right, so food stamps, Fuentes. Wait. Oh, I must have already deleted. Okay. Let's take a look at Hovind. Hang on, let me pull up. Actually, Scott Adams seemed interesting, too. Yeah, let's cover Hovind and then Scott Adams. All right. Let me pull it up. Wait, I have a video titled simply Hovind 6 Minutes.
If evolution is true, you could read Charles Darwin's book, page 170 or page 217. He said, "Hey, the death and struggle for life is a wonderful thing. That's how we get ahead." Okay. Now, the creation view says there was a flood about 4,400 years ago.
Oh my God, he's insane. Okay, let's pull up the phone calls, the jail phone calls. All right. Let me pull up a video of him actually real fast. Here we go. Okay. You guys are probably familiar with Kent Hovind, right? He has this seminar series that he did. He's this famous young earth creationist nutcase. Well, years ago, I think in 2006, he got in trouble with the IRS for not paying taxes for 30 years, something that he bragged about. Literally bragged about this to the New York Times. Sovereign citizen stuff, claimed he didn't have to because his money belonged to God and all this other insane stuff. His jail phone calls leaked. Leaked may not be the right word. They were included as part of the record in his court case because he said some very illegal things on the phone calls between his family and himself while he was in jail. And, of course, they monitor those phone calls. So they used them in court, and that's how we have access to them today. There were like 30 minutes worth of phone calls, but I just want to glance through some of the most interesting moments. I wrote this program that basically goes through a video and analyzes it for certain like keywords that I'm looking for, anything related to the IRS or, lies or whatever other thing. It tells me which sections contain certain words and stuff like that. So we're going to use this program I wrote. I call it Clippy, because I'm downloading clips with it and stuff. Anyway, let's look through a little bit of this. All right, it says there's something interesting right at the start here. Check this out.
Should we go on the offense? Should we file a criminal complaint against the IRS and file a ticket complaint and start the whole thing over again?
No, I don't think we need to do that because we've already done it. We can simply
So he says, should we go on the offense and file a criminal complaint against the IRS? Dude literally didn't pay taxes for 30 fucking years and is blaming everybody around him for this. He went to jail for 10 years for this. If he had just paid restitution or made a deal with the IRS or whatever, he could have maybe just not even gone to jail, but he chose to be difficult and lie and cover shit up and twist things around. And he wouldn't even submit a guilty plea or a non-guilty plea without saying under duress. Like, he was such a sovereign citizen douchebag.
What do you call it? I'm trying to think of the term. Continuous, in other words, add to it.
Well, I think
what we've already done.
we're sitting here worried what they're going to do next, and we really should be on the offense. I mean, they broke so many laws. They didn't follow their own procedure.
The IRS didn't. This is the exact same strategy that Scientology used, harassing IRS agents personally, filing charges against them, and all kinds of stuff.
And maybe another criminal complaint with the federal court.
Done a good job.
Yeah, I think there's real close to zero chance they're going to come seize anything.
Really?
Yeah, that's what all the attorneys say too. There's zero chance they can do it legally.
That's a lie. They seized all kinds of shit. I think they seized like $400,000 worth of stuff or something.
Yeah.
Now, can they do it actually? Well, take a look at what they've done so far. I mean, quite obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
About the only thing we got going for us is Scott Snyder is a little bit afraid that I will sue him.
Well.
And I will.
Amen.
I'll do it again. And the rest of his life. If he doesn't start obeying the law, I'm going to haunt him the rest of his life.
I hope you do.
Just going to keep, because he needs to obey the law. He's got a badge. Okay, so what, Obey the law then,
This guy talking about obeying the law, of all people. I mean, oh my God, dude. He did some real vile stuff, too. If you don't know who he is, let me just check this out. I just released a video about it on my main channel the other day. If you want to take a look about him protecting pedophiles and a bunch of other stuff. Actually, let me pull up the source from my video. Hold on. He also likes to sue the shit out of people, obviously, so I have to be careful and make sure everything that I say is absolutely 100% accurate. It's very important that everything that I say is accurate. Check this out. This is April 17th, 2023. The Daily Beast released this article. Creationist theme park pal charged with child sex abuse. Again! Oh my God, dude. Please leave me the... All right, hang on. See if I can get an archived version of this. Let me try this. Here we go. A conspiracy theorist at the center of controversy over creationist theme park has been arrested for alleged sexual assault of a 9-year-old dude. Oh my God. Christopher Lynx Jones, 55, was arrested late last month in Aiken, South Carolina, the Aiken Standard first reported. An arrest warrant shows Jones charged with criminal sexual conduct with a minor under 14. Jones was previously convicted of battery and lewd acts on children in California. Again, Kent Hovind defended this guy, and it led to this whole big thing where people didn't want to, work with Hovind anymore. They didn't want to be at Dinosaur Adventureland anymore, which, by the way, is a complete and total cult. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Jones' California criminal record created rifts at Dinosaur Adventureland, a creationist theme park where Jones is friends with head preacher Kent Hovind, and where Jones has been accused of sexually abusing a boy. Hovind and Jones have blamed the previous conviction on a plot to silence Jones for what he claims was his work with InfoWars founder Alex Jones. Hovind told the Daily Beast that Jones is still welcome at Dinosaur Adventureland, despite the new charges. Quote, "I've known Chris for many years," Hovind told the Daily Beast. "He gets accused of things all the time, but everybody gets their day in court. I don't know the details on that, the charges," end quote. Hovind, who spent 9 years in prison for tax avoidance, runs the DAL park in Repton, Alabama. In Repton, Alabama. The park is advertised as family-friendly, featuring playgrounds, animals, and a scene center that claims that humans and dinosaurs shared the Earth mere thousands of years ago. Former DAL workers, Dinosaur Adventureland, some of whom lived at the park, have accused Hovind of enabling a culture of impunity for Jones and for other close friends who allegedly abused drugs, stole money, and killed a dog on or near DAL property. Hovind was also convicted of domestic violence in 2021, a ruling he is appealing. Yeah, I actually covered that a bit on my main channel video about him too, so I'm not going to dive into that too much. Person's name was Cindy Lincoln. It's his third wife, I believe. Just really disgusting stuff. Just a disgusting human being, truthfully. So that's who we're dealing with. Now let's just glance through some of these calls a little bit more here. Let's jump to 339. It apparently gets kind of interesting here.
Get this acquittal and leave them alone. If I don't get the acquittal, if they end up putting me in prison, I think I'm going to have to start suing them and making their life miserable legally. You know, they've done so many things wrong. You know, I don't want to fight them, but I kind of like, you know, Nehemiah. I'm just trying to build a wall. Now leave me alone, I'm going to get a sword, you know.
I don't want to fight them. Leave me alone. I'm going to get a sword. I am going to fight them is the bottom line here. Seriously, he's a cult leader. And when cult leaders use this type of language, we should be concerned.
I would never do anything violent with them, but I'm sure they sure need to be sued. I guess I don't understand how suing them is going to help, but
it feels like he knows that they're listening, right? And he wants them to hear these veiled threats.
Well, Scott Snyder needs to be fired, okay? He doesn't know how to obey the law. He doesn't understand what his position is. He's got a badge and a gun, and he thinks he's God. He needs to get, you know, I sent him all kinds of letters telling him, Scott, here's what the law says your position is, you know. He doesn't care. And the court's not going to enforce it, not this court anyway. See first. Yeah. IRS has a very legitimate place in our government.
The IRS has a legitimate place in our government, he says?
Serve a very legitimate purpose. You know, I'm not against, and they keep calling me a tax protester in these documents. Man, that makes me angry. Yeah.
Well, he is, of course. Again, he bragged about not paying for 30 years. He's proud of that fact. He is a tax protester. He's a sovereign citizen nutcase.
Well, I'm not. They are the tax protesters. They don't.
I'm not the tax protester. The IRS is the tax protester. Okay. What?
Like the laws the way they're written. So they enforce them the way they want them to be written, you know. I don't know if because we filed so many lawsuits in the past against them that possibly Snyder and Heldmeyer are afraid that if they don't keep pushing, they'll be sued for all the wrong they've done. And that may be the case.
So I guess a little bit further down. Hold on. I'm just looking here. Here, this is an interesting spot. Apparently 1741. Let's jump to this one. He's talking about his legal team. He didn't have a legal team, apparently. He didn't call any witnesses to the stand, nothing. I mean, full-blown sovereign citizen garbage.
Because, number one, they're not employees by the definition of the term. They're not earning wages by the definition of the term. And I don't have an agreement.
Okay, here's what happened. This is what got him caught. They were structuring. It's called structuring, where the banks have to report to the IRS every time $10,000 or more is moved, you know, to a different account, withdrawn, deposited, whatever. Because it's a large sum of money, and, you know, they just have to keep track of it. Like, that's all there is to it. So the mafia famously would do things like structuring, where they would withdraw smaller amounts, like $9,000, and then like the next day they'd come and take out 9,000 more, and then 9,000 more, and they would pay their employees with that money. And that's what Kent Hovind was doing. He withdrew, I think it was two $7,000 deposits, maybe, where he deposited two checks around $7,000 each, and it tipped off the bank and the IRS to what he was doing. And his claim afterward was, We were just taking the money out and, you know, giving it to these guys down here at Dinosaur Adventureland and having them run down to Lowe's and pick up some lumber so that we could build onto this whatever. We weren't structuring anything, you know how he says. That is wild, right? I can't believe the guy was so brazen as to come out to the New York Times and brag about it.
So I've had a lot of tax professionals look at this, even paid people. I paid an IRS enrolled agent. I paid a tax attorney.
Why is he saying this to, like, his wife or whatever? Well, this is the kind of thing you bring up in court.
And I forget who else. A regular attorney. See, a tax attorney, IRS enrolled agent, and CPA. And I sent them everything we're doing and said, am I breaking the law? I got back from each of them a 10 or 12-page letter saying, no, you're doing fine. This is perfectly legal.
Really?
So I just think, just because the government has decided I'm a tax protester, I don't want that image out there, because though I probably would have been in the revolution throwing the tea in the harbor, you know. But I want to go fight creation evolution. I don't have time to fight these guys, and I don't want to be involved. There are tax protesters. I know some of them. I think what they're doing is probably good.
Wow, that's so fascinating, dude. I think what they're doing is probably good. So you are a tax protester. I mean, if you agree with the position and you're refusing to pay taxes, that sounds like tax protester to me.
But it's not me. Neither the IRS nor any person has ever been able to point out one specific law that Ken Hovind or the church ministry has violated.
Oh, he violated all kinds of shit. Again, he spent 10 years in jail, dude.
They're desperately trying to hang on to this case, and it's just so obvious. They lied, they broke the law, and I'm not guilty, and so now what are they doing? It's going to look really bad to let me out.
Yeah, they don't want to be embarrassed. That's why you have to spend 10 years in prison, in federal prison, because, you know, they don't want to look bad, totally.
I'm sorry, you know, that's what they had to do in Act 16, you know, to let the guys out. Yeah. After they beat him, then they... So, okay, they beat me, they embarrassed me, they had me all over the news media. Now, get me out of here. Yeah. And I still think Scott Snyder is way outside his delegated authority.
I believe that was the guy that the IRS agent that was going after him.
I wish he would show me that he's not. That's all he would have to do is just answer my questions, you know.
This is a criminal investigation, Kent. You aren't the one asking the questions.
Well, yeah, I'm just looking for, the whole thing seems so unjust. I still don't know what I did wrong.
Really? You don't? Still? I wonder if he still says that to this day. Probably not, right?
And I am a staff evangelist. And can the church appeal to the court saying, hey, release our staff evangelist regardless of all this other stuff? Can I type a response?
If I have to. I typed my response. Hey.
I think, is this Joe? I believe this is Joe Hovind, who also served time in jail. I think she only got 4 years, maybe? I could be wrong there. She was the one that cashed the checks or whatever, deposited, that drew attention in the first place. And she was kind of just as much of a scumbag in a lot of ways.
Me and Lindsay, I'm printing this out for Ken is what I printed.
Oh, okay. Lindsay, I think you misunderstand. The rule of law is the Constitution, which says crimes in Florida should be tried in Florida, not in a federal court.
Oh my God, dude. This is sovereign citizen shit. He says, what, do you think there's no federal court? You think the federal government has no enforcement mechanism or something? What? God, it's so wild. It's like the way he views the world is just ass backwards in so many ways. It's not just young earth creationism. It's fucking every part of his life.
Okay, you went too fast. I think you misunderstand what?
I think you misunderstand, period.
Okay.
The rule of law is the Constitution.
No, you misunderstand.
Okay.
Which clearly says crimes are to be tried in the state.
Oh my God.
Where they occur.
Okay.
The Constitution, which this judge took an oath to defend.
Like, the Constitution is more of a, kind of outlines how it's generally going to operate and it's generally structured. and then Congress passes laws that form it out more completely, right? And the Supreme Court reviews those laws to make sure that they don't violate the Constitution in one way or another, or executive orders or whatever. Kent Hovind, I guess, doesn't believe that any laws apply at all? Question mark? He thinks that the only thing that applies to him or anybody is the Constitution and literally no other thing. By and large, especially the amendments to the Constitution, it's more of a permission slip to tell the government what they're not allowed to do. You are not allowed to search somebody without a good reason. You are not allowed to quarter troops in people's homes, the Third Amendment, I believe. You're not allowed to ban people from owning guns. You're allowed to regulate, but not allowed to fully ban. You're not allowed to ban speech, so on and so forth. It's a permission slip. And the laws more fully form out how our society is structured. It blows me away that he doesn't, that he's even arguing this. But I don't know why. Why am I surprised by this? It's like he's applying all of the insane, nonsensical trash that he laid down about young Earth creationism. He's applying all of that to the sovereign citizen movement and the government and everything. This is just crazy to me. He's talking to Joe Hovind, I believe, his wife at the time. Second wife was Mary Toko. If you want to learn more about this, I'm going to be listening to a video with his second and third wife, Mary Toko, and Cindy Lincoln is number 3. I'm going to be listening to that video sometime soon. This is them. On the top right is Mary Toko, and on the bottom is Cindy Lincoln, who was body slammed by him and had him criminally charged for battery, I believe. Anyway, I'm going to be listening to this video from these two on Wednesdays and Thursdays, 10:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. Eastern. I do this kind of thing on my Unfiltered channel all the time, so keep a lookout.
About me that I believe are not true, and I guess I'm here because I see Cindy now, who I happen to know pretty well, in the same position as I am. Only I am afraid she took a much worse. Her time there was much worse than mine. I left before it got crazy. Unfortunately, she stuck around, and she's been harmed and hurt deeply by what's going on there. I know Cindy's.
So anyway, that's Mary Toko, and poor Cindy, man. I mean, both of these two people are complete fucking nutcases, honestly. Mary Toko is an anti-vax conspiracy theorist, and Cindy Lincoln is a young Earth creationist, anti-gay, anti-LGBT, anything at all. I mean, just complete scumbags, both of them. But that doesn't justify being so terribly mistreated by Kent Hovind. And if you want to learn more about Kent Hovind and his belief system and the way that Dinosaur Adventureland operates and everything, you can check out my main channel. I'm releasing a series on him right now. Or you can go to cultarchive.org. This is my website that I designed. You can type in Hovind and pull it up. And this is basically a historical test to see how he ranks and how Dinosaur Adventureland ranks and how extreme it is as a cult. It is the maximum, most destructive cult that you can get, number 5. Oh, shoot. I got to fix that. My UI is a little messed up. But here, take a look. Kent Hovind's Dinosaur Adventureland compound in rural Alabama represents one of the most extreme examples of Christian fundamentalist cult behavior in America. Founded by a convicted felon who served 9 years for tax fraud and was later convicted of domestic violence, the organization operates as an isolated compound where residents provide free labor, accept young Earth creationist pseudoscience, embrace anti-government conspiracy theories, and submit to Hovind's absolute authority. Despite marketing itself as family-friendly creationist theme park, the 140-acre compound functions as an authoritarian community where Hovind lives in luxury, while residents live like crap, quote unquote. That quote is actually from one of the previous residents. where convicted pedophiles have been welcomed despite concerns for child safety, and where a child drowned in 2020 because they don't have liability insurance, they don't have lifeguards. Ken Hovind's take on it is he wants to go back to a time when there weren't lifeguards, when people, sent their kids out to wander the countryside and not worry about if they were going to be okay anymore and stuff like that. So he doesn't believe in basically putting lifeguards out there to make sure that nobody drowns. He doesn't believe in that because that makes weak people. This kid was weak because he drowned. And this is natural selection, for lack of a better term, filtering out the weak. That's the kind of mindset Ken Hovind is in. Anyway, cultarchive.org. You can go through the whole historical breakdown if you want to see how he ranked 1 to 13 on the Fibonacci sequence. There's a reason I chose 1 to 13 on Fibonacci, because it shows more dramatic gaps. People are less likely to choose a 13 over an 8 because they feel the gap is larger. Anyway, I wrote this whole system. How centralized is the decision-making in your group? 13 maximum. How structured is the chain of command in your group? 8. Very strong hierarchy. How narrow and specific is your group's central focus? Everything centers on one doctrine or person. How uniform are the beliefs and practices? 13. Identical beliefs, no deviation allowed. Ken Hovind founded Creation Science Evangelism in 1989 after obtaining a quote-unquote doctorate from Patriot University, an unaccredited diploma mill, which he uses to style himself Dr. Dino, despite having no legitimate scientific credentials. In 2001, he built Dinosaur Adventureland in his backyard in Pensacola, Florida, refusing to obtain building permits and claiming he followed church law rather than secular law. From 1999 to 2004, the operation generated over $5 million in revenue, but Hovind paid workers as missionaries rather than employees to evade payroll taxes, structured cash transactions to avoid reporting requirements, and never filed tax returns for 30 years. Anyway, check it out if you're interested. I mean, this dude is about as dirty as they come, disgusting. But he did form out a lot of the creationist, the young earth creationist arguments, and it's really interesting to kind of examine his beliefs and how he got to where he is ideologically. Yeah, tell me what you think in the comments. All right, 1 second. Hovind jail, that was 108. All right, awesome. That'll work. Let's talk about Scott Adams. I wanted to cover this. Also, I'm sorry, I forgot to hit super chats. Fuentes is already horrible. This just adds to the pile, the ever-growing pile. Absolutely. He is a colossal scumbag, dude. Just disgusting. Disgusting beliefs that he holds. She's taking joy out of knowing poor people and their kids are going to go hungry. I know. I'm telling you, man, we live in an environment where people are absolutely depraved in the United States. We have lost our moral compass completely in the U.S. because of Donald Trump primarily. Because he was so willing to demonize his enemies, the people that he doesn't like. He's so willing to demonize them to such a degree that they have, they don't have any sympathy at all for people anymore. It's just gone, erased. It's insane. I don't think she can understand that their situation is not their fault. She just enjoys shaming and mocking people who are suffering. Yeah. It's evil, dude. It's straight up evil. Fucking disgusting. Did you delete the Telltale Reads videos? I was looking for Donald Trump's Son of Man book playlist and I couldn't find it. I don't think I deleted it. I think if you go to my Pixel Dreams channel, which I intend to upload to again. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Shit, maybe no, I didn't delete them, but maybe I privated them. Yeah, I think I privated the videos, but let me just see. Playlists, Trump the Messiah. Yeah, I did private them. Let me see if I can make them public. Can I make that list public? If you go to my Pixel Dreams YouTube channel, which is in the description, you click playlists, you'll be able to access it. There you go. Trump the Messiah, publicly available now. Somebody tweeted this app. Wow, I look so different. Anyway. Yep, there you go. Now it's available for you. Thanks for asking. All right, now let's talk about Scott Adams, shall we? Scott Adams. Where the holy heck did my thing go? Here it is. Scott Adams. All right. I came across this tweet from Scott Adams. On Monday, I will ask President Trump via X to help save my life. He offered to help me if I needed it. I need it. As many of you know, I have metastasized prostate cancer. Damn, I'm sorry to hear that. He's the guy that made Dilbert comics. If you're unfamiliar, he's a far-right extremist nutcase. If you don't know this guy, he's bottom of the barrel evil. Seriously. I mean, I don't say that lightly, but the shit that he says is so vile, dude. Like, I'll show you some of it. I'll show you. I'll give you some context for this in a second. Hey, can you shut doors quieter while I'm streaming? Hang on. What? Can I do what? Shut doors quieter while I'm streaming. Thanks. I'm gonna have to cut that out. All right. My healthcare provider, Kaiser of Northern California, has approved my application to receive a newly FDA-approved drug called Pluvicto, but they've dropped the ball in scheduling the brief IV to administer it, and I can't seem to fix that. I'm declining fast. I will ask President Trump if he can get Kaiser of Northern California to respond and schedule it for Monday. That will give me a fighting chance to stick around on this planet a little bit longer. It's not a cure, but it does give good results to many people. He's famously an atheist. I'm sorry to hear that he's dealing with cancer. I don't revel in that at all. I don't want anyone to suffer. That's really sad. I'm sorry, but the things that he said, dude, make me like, it's hard for me to feel much of anything for him after he said some of the vile shit that he said and done the vile things he's done.
I've made some pretty bold predictions.
Hold on.
Yes. My prediction was, I've made some pretty...
Well, Rasmussen...
Here, this is a good one.
When the Fine People hoax came...
What was this one? Yeah, this one. This one. Let me just give you an idea of who this guy is, okay? This was a video from 2023. This is February 22nd, 2023 on his live stream. He's famously an atheist. I think I mentioned. He's an atheist. He claims to be a member of Mensa. I don't know if that's accurate, maybe. But he is so all in for Donald Trump. He will do anything for Donald Trump. But listen to what he says here in 2023.
Well, Rasmussen poll had a provocative little poll today.
Rasmussen is insane. Like, they're terrible at creating polls. They do politically biased polling questions and stuff. Like, how do you feel about Black Lives Matter, the group that burned cities and destroyed, blah, 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 they always go all out in framing questions in a very, very biased way. And this is no exception. They created a poll at this in 2023.
They said, do you agree or disagree with the statement, it's okay to be white?
Why are they even asking such a question? Of course, nobody cares if anybody is white. Nobody has a problem with anyone being white. But the type of people who would say, I'm proud of being white, are KKK members. You know, you want to have Irish pride? Have Irish pride. Nobody cares. You want to have Scottish pride, German pride, whatever. No one cares. Having white pride, though, that's different, right? Having white pride is very obviously tied to white supremacy and extremism in the United States. So this is another politically motivated polling question designed to inflame tensions and draw divisions even deeper. And he fell for it.
That was an actual question.
Asked by a right-wing extremist group, of course. Are you surprised?
Rasmussen asked, white and black voters, and probably others, do you disagree or agree with the statement, it's okay to be white? 26% of blacks said no.
I'm not even sure that's accurate. The way that the poll was done, the methodology, the places that they went to ask these questions, the people that they talked to, I'm skeptical that the poll was even real since it came out of Rasmussen. It's like saying that you should trust the things that Fox News says. It's extremely untrustworthy. But just listen to how he frames this whole thing up.
It's not okay to be white. 21% weren't sure. Add them together, that is 47% of black respondents were not willing to say it's okay to be white.
Well, why did you add those together? I mean, I might answer not sure because the question is very obviously framed in a politically biased way. I probably wouldn't want to take part in this poll after hearing this question. Again, what was the methodology? Probably dog shit.
That's like a real poll. This just happened. So I realized, as you know, I've been identifying as black for a while, years now, because I like to be on the winning team.
Such a fucking scumbag, dude.
And I like to help. And I always thought, well, if you help the black community, that's sort of the biggest lever. You can find the biggest benefit.
So you are supposedly helping black people because it will benefit you in some way? Really?
So I thought, well, that's the hardest thing and the biggest benefit. So I'd like to focus a lot of my life resources in helping black Americans. So much so that I started identifying as black.
So how many of your resources did you devote to helping black Americans? How much money did you put into it? I would be willing to bet 0. This is just, God, dude, I'm sorry, man. He's such a fucking scumbag.
To just be on the team I was helping. But it turns out that nearly half of that team doesn't think I'm okay to be white.
See, he's twisting the poll. It wasn't nearly half of black people said it's not okay to be white. Something like 20%, supposedly, in this politically biased poll said that. But even being politically biased, it's not extreme enough for him. And he needed to make it even worse. And for the record, you can find people that believe literally anything. 7% of the country believes that chocolate milk comes from brown cows. They're correct, by the way. But that's a story for another day.
Which is, of course, why I identified as black, so I could be on the winning team for a while. But I have to say, this is the first political poll that ever changed my activities.
I bet.
I don't know that that's ever happened before. Normally you see a poll, you just look at it and you go, whatever. Oh, this is interesting what other people think. But as of today, I'm going to re-identify as white. because I don't want to be a member of a hate group. I'd accidentally joined a hate group. So if nearly half of all blacks are not okay with white people, according to this poll, not according to me, according to this poll, that's a hate group. That's a hate group.
He's such a vile human being, dude, really.
I don't want to have anything to do with him. And I would say, based on the current way things are going, the best advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from black people.
Great idea. Segregation. Fantastic. Worked so well in the past. Let's have more of it.
Just get the fuck away. Wherever you have to go, just get away. Because there's no fixing this. This can't be fixed. All right? This can't be fixed. You just have to escape. So that's what I did. I went to a neighborhood where, I have a very low black population. So I think it makes no sense whatsoever as a white citizen of America to try to help black citizens anymore. It doesn't make sense. It's no longer a rational impulse.
You mean you were only doing things so that you could benefit from it, and now you've twisted this around in your little head so that you can frame it like you're not benefiting anymore, so it's not worth your time to help impoverished people or to help people that are having a hard time in life or whatever else? Okay, great. Anyway, you get the idea. There's just a little bit more left in this video, and it's important, this last section here. So I'll let it play. Keep listening.
And so I'm gonna back off from being helpful to black America because it doesn't seem like it pays off. Like I've been doing it all my life, and the only outcome is I get called a racist. That's the only outcome. It makes no sense to help black Americans if you're white.
You are called a racist for helping black people? What kind of help were you offering, Scott?
It's over. Don't even think it's worth trying. And I'm also really sick of seeing video after video of black Americans beating up non-black citizens.
And that line is telling right there. That tells me exactly what I needed to know about where he's getting his media from. Do you know where you see black people beating up white people? Pretty much exclusively on far-right forums. We live in a country of 350 million people. We live on a planet of what, 8 billion, 9 billion? Are we up to 9 billion now? How many black people are beating up white people at this moment, right now, on planet Earth? Not zero, right? It's some. How many white people are beating up black people at this moment on planet Earth? Not zero. So why is it that the social media feeds that you're watching exclusively show you black people beating up white people and not the other way around? Obviously, there's a reason for that, right? Member of Mensa, my ass. Are you really that fucking stupid, Scott? He's a scumbag. He's a vile, disgusting fucking scumbag. That's just what it is. And my sympathy has gone so low now that it went backwards. It's no longer zero. It's circled back around to the negatives now. This is from 2020 when Trump was running for president again, and he was about to lose. Scott Adams made up a conspiracy theory that he knew was a conspiracy theory. He's not a Christian. And he encouraged gullible suckers to believe it cynically because he wanted to help Donald Trump.
As you know, I'm not a believer in any kind of religious anything, but I can't help noticing how many satanic coincidences there are with the Joe Biden campaign.
He's an atheist, and he's deciding to lean into conspiracy theories about satanic imagery because he wants to sucker people into believing what he wants them to believe. This is vile. This is immoral.
and they just have to be mentioned. Now, again, I'm not a believer, but it's becoming a weird coincidence of how many things look satanic. For example, Joe Biden is in favor of what he said, bringing the light to the darkness. And what is happening as he's speaking? As he's speaking.
First of all, I don't even know that Joe Biden said that. Maybe, I suppose, but this is absolutely out of context, 100%. But how's he going to tie this into his little conspiracy here?
As he's speaking, saying, I will bring the light to the darkness, cities are actually on fire. California is on fire. I'm in Arizona, and I'm watching the entire valley is full of smoke because some part of the Phoenix area is on fire.
Again, there's literally, like, a fire going somewhere on Earth at every given moment. There are wildfires every year in the United States. There's a fire season, right? And he's using this moment in time as an opportunity to try to convince Christian nationalists that there's some satanic thing happening with Joe Biden. This is fucking disgusting, dude.
Expect that Satan would speak in terms which are true but misleading, meaning he will bring you the light, but there's a catch. It's fire, and it's burning your stuff. That's exactly what Satan would say if Satan existed. Now, I'm not saying that Joe Biden is possessed by Satan. I'm just saying it would look exactly like this. How much?
That's vile, dude. Really. I'm sorry. My sympathy is less than zero for him. I don't want anybody to suffer from cancer or anything like that. I'm sorry that he's going through this, but this is fucking disgusting. And this is the video of him announcing that he had cancer. Apparently, this happened in May. I had no idea. May 19th, 2025. Now, I have I have some notes here about, like, the kind of the most interesting moments. So I'm just going to glance through here a little bit. I think he starts talking about it a lot at about 9 minutes. So let's jump there.
Was because of the behavior of the people on it, but a lot of it was because I don't really function too well after the show. So I do have the ability to kind of get up for this part of the day, but I'm in pain, and I'm always in pain.
I'm sorry to hear that, really. I don't want anyone suffering.
And the pain moves around to different parts of my body. I've been using a walker to walk for months now. So, you know, it's basically intolerable.
That's hard. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope his doctor is giving him pain medicine. It doesn't sound like they're giving him enough, certainly. Let me jump to another part here. Hang on. Give me a second. Public reactions of others regarding his cancer diagnosis, political opposition, personal resilience. Hold on. Let's check 1538. That one seems to be kind of interesting.
Wanted to reduce the time that people were being terrible to me online, because it's going to be kind of hard to spend any time online. All of my enemies, in other words, people who are Democrats mostly, are going to come after me pretty hard. So,
like, I'm not going to, like, come after somebody for being a cancer patient or something. Some of the shit that he said is fucking disgusting, though, dude. Really. You wanted your legacy to be decent when you die. You should have been a decent person when you were alive, right? Some of the shit that he said is so, like, I just showed you a couple of examples that were pretty mild in the grand scheme of things. He said some real ugly shit. defending Donald Trump in his vile racist positions, saying some fully KKK white nationalist shit. I mean, seriously. I'm sorry you don't want to be criticized, but don't be a fucking scumbag if you don't want to be criticized, right?
I have to put up with that. But I'm ready for that. You should know, well, if you didn't already know, I am unusually mentally tough. So while this could be much worse, for some people, I suppose, I'm handling it quite well. The pain is tough. I mean, really tough. But the mental part, I got that under control. And I can see in the comments that some of you are having a tough time with it.
He actually, earlier, I didn't cover this part because it's pretty rough to go through, but he talked about being instrumental in the legal right in California to check out, if you will, like medical, your right to physician-assisted suicide, basically. I wrote a whole paper on this in college, and I'm all for it. I think you should be allowed to do that. And he said he was very involved in, like, the legislation in California to allow that kind of thing. I don't know if that's true. He could be completely full of shit, but it sounds like he's having a rough go of it right now. Let's jump back to the beginning because he kind of explains the situation a little bit. Here, wait.
Take a chance on taking it up to another level. All you need is a copper ball.
All right, let me just jump forward.
And join me. It happens right now. Go.
Dude, I actually like that cup a lot. When you lean it up, it says "ah" on the bottom.
Tremendous. Incredible. All right, well, big story of the day. You may have heard that Joe Biden has prostate cancer, but it's not the good kind. It's the bad kind. There's something you need to know about prostate cancer. If it's localized and it hasn't left your prostate, it's 100% curable. But if it leaves your prostate and spreads to other parts of your body, in this case, Joe Biden has it in his bones, it is 100% not curable.
I didn't know about that Joe Biden had it in his bones. I didn't hear that. I'm sorry he's dealing with that, dude. Seriously, this is rough.
So it's not curable at all. So
if it metastasized, I think is what that means.
I'd like to extend my respect and compassion and sympathy for the ex-president and his family, because they're going to be going through an especially tough time. It's a terrible disease. It's going to get very painful for the president if something else doesn't take him out first, because he's a certain age. One of the things I've been watching is how terrible the public is. And I'll tell you,
it's gotten a lot worse since Donald Trump has taken office or been involved heavily in politics, because he divides people. He intentionally inflames tensions, try to make people more emotional, make them hate others as much as humanly possible. That kind of shit is directly one-to-one correlated to public hate. If you didn't want this kind of public hate and vitriol and all of this, you shouldn't have supported Donald Trump.
There's no sympathy for Joe Biden for a lot of people, and it's hard to watch, especially because the public has all decided to become prostate experts.
Yeah, right.
The number of people who have said things that I'm pretty sure are not right is kind of shocking. So, and I have to say that even some of the doctors who have appeared on social media and on the TV, I don't think they're right either. And I'll tell you why in a little bit.
Well, he's probably full of shit on that one, but Yeah, it's real wild to watch people suddenly become experts on everything and they're completely wrong about all of it. I've seen that before.
But the big question is, how long does it take to go from a clean bill of health to stage 4 prostate cancer? So I heard one doctor say it would take 7 to 10 years or something like that. I don't think that's right. I think there's actually a tremendous variability of how long it takes to go from localized in the prostate and your PSA spikes to, it is spread to your bones. I'll give you some more information about that in a minute.
He looks rough, dude.
I guess his doctor, Kevin O'Connor, Biden's doctor, said back in August of 2024, said that he had a clean bill of health and he was just looking good. So you might ask yourself, is it possible that he was not showing signs in August of 2024?
Oh my God, he's going to turn
but
this.
That,
oh my God, he's going to turn this political. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? He's not the president. He didn't run for president in 2024. Nobody cares about all this political shit, dude. He's got cancer, okay? My God. Anyway, the ultimate point that I'm trying to reach here is that Scott Adams is now worried about his legacy, and I'm so sorry he's suffering. I don't want anybody to suffer, nobody. But if you worried about your legacy, you should have been thinking about it last year when you were saying that you think that we should be self-segregating because black people are dangerous and make life worse for white people around them and stuff. If you don't want to be reviled when you die, don't do shit like that. Anyway, I told you to think about it in the comments. All right, let me write down my timestamps again. That's Scott Adams 108 to 137. All right. Hold on 1 second. All right. I had another one. What was the next video we were going to talk about? I already hit Hovind's prison calls and Scott Adams. See, Hovind's ex-girlfriend, Cindy Lincoln. I thought that could be interesting to cover. She covers the Hovind theory.
Size fossil of a millipede that has been found. And we have Dr. Hovind's longevity chart.
All right. You going to talk to them for a minute? All right. I'll be back in just a second, okay? And Alpha Force Zero are going to stay here to keep you entertained.
Hi. I don't really have much to talk about. I went to New York this weekend. It was really, really fun. So that's great. I saw my best friend for the first time in... Wait, let me do the math here. May, June, July, August, September. So in 6 months. The first time in 6 months. So I saw her for the first time in 6 months. I went to her house. We hung out. And she gave me an entire bag of clothes that she didn't want anymore. And yeah. I love her. She's so great. I've missed her so much. Yo, sorry I missed the pre-show. Got any answers about my hair? It was basically just treat it like curly hair. That's basically all she said. So I'd suggest just like a bonnet at night. That could help a lot if you don't want to go like full silk pillowcase and stuff. But yeah, she said pretty much treat it like curly hair because it is generally like it's more curly than straight hair. But yeah, I wasn't on the pre-show today. I have been cleaning my room and it actually has not... I haven't made much progress. I filled up 3 trash bags and I still haven't made much progress. Tomorrow's November 3rd, my actual birthday. Yeah. Happy early birthday. Happy. What is today the 2nd? Okay, happy 1 day early birthday. Wow. Is he your dad should play Ninja Garden 4? I will tell him that. You should have dressed up like Wednesday, lol. I was matching with my friends, so I was a cat. Sorry, I'm like reading everything. But yeah, so we dressed up, we matched. I got there after trick-or-treating and her building had already ended, so we just went to the haunted house that her building had, and it was for kids. Treat it like it's curly, alright then, good to know. My folks have treated it like it's straight my whole life. I'll try making a bonnet. Yeah, there are some good products out there for your hair type. If you look up, I don't remember what you said your hair type was, but you can look at the chart, like look at the hair type chart and look up products for that hair if you are interested in like something like that. But yeah, bonnets are really useful if you don't want to go like full silk pillowcase, silk, whatever else. I don't like silk because it's very slippery and I don't like being slippery. So, you know, you look nice. Thank you. Look at my hair. But yeah. So we went to the haunted house and it was for kids, so we were like, oh, it's not gonna be scary. They jump scared us. They had people there and the people jump scared us. And then we went a second time and the people jump scared us again. How did they even do that? It's like the smallest room ever. But we got sushi and it was so good. I love sushi. I use leave-in conditioner regularly and my hair is between 2B and 3A. Yeah. But yeah, so we had a lot of fun. I just realized she never paid me back for the sushi. She's lucky I don't care. She said, "Oh, I'll pay you back $35." She's lucky I love her. I'm gonna text her when I go back to my room. I'm gonna text her and yell at her. About 2 hours ago, I saw mom posting stuff like, this is what I put on my door. The message was, beware kids, we believe in God here, not demons, no candies for you. My teacher at my first high school, when I was a freshman, every year she does this to the freshmen. We all dressed up at my school, freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors. Every single person dresses up. If you don't dress up, you're a weirdo. Which is the exact opposite here. If you do dress up here, you're weird. But like a ton of people dressed up, but like, I don't know, just majority didn't. It was like people were staring at my friend, for example. Anyways, so we were all dressed up freshman year in our nice little costumes, and I was a vampire, and we were all super cute and all super happy. Sorry, I'm realizing I don't remember what I was last year. Oh, I remember. Okay, anyway, so we were all dressed up, and she stops the entire class for the first few minutes. For the first, like, 10 or 15 minutes, she stops the entire class to lecture us on demons and goblins and ghouls and how they're real and how we're all being evil. She's like, but I can't do anything about it. And then we all dressed up again the next year. Like, we did not care. But she does it to the freshmen every single year, and it's like, okay. Like, I don't care. Oh, well. I love celebrating demons. Let's fight. She never paid you back for the sushi, but you got free clothes. They're clothes that she doesn't wear anymore. Half of them don't fit her, and the other half just aren't her style anymore. Some of them are, like, really ugly clothes that she, that she bought thinking that they might come out cute or that she could style them, and it just, like, didn't work well. But I'll wear them. But yeah, they're, like, not my style either, but she did have a few good shirts, so.
You don't want to take that down, do you?
What? That? Not particularly, no.
If you don't want to, you don't have to. Okay, thanks. Love you. Okay, I'm back. I don't know why, but my light balance is all weird. Okay, let's continue, shall we? Isn't it wild when isn't it wild when terrible people start worrying about their legacy? Yeah, it is. Again, I'm sorry he's suffering. Really, I don't want anyone to suffer. But your legacy is set in stone now. You made it what you made it when you were here. And you can't erase that. You know? The minute he opens his mouth, I lose compassion for his cancer diagnosis. Yeah. I don't want anyone to suffer, man, but you did this to yourself. Your legacy is what it is. More and more far-right people are making up convenient polls and wild stories prop up their opinions. They rarely have sources. They rarely have any sources, though, yeah. He's always looking for the angle that he can use to manipulate people. It's all manipulation. I don't think he believes any of that. He knows what he's doing. And he knows that it's wrong, and he's doing it anyway because he's just a scumbag. Anyway, there was something else I wanted to cover. Let me just check my... I have a Discord group that I post crazy shit to. Let me just kind of scan through here real fast. Oh, this is something else I wanted to talk about. This is supposed to go to the food stamps episode. I'll put it in there somewhere when I do the edits. This is pretty popular right now regarding food stamps. If you type the words "is they" on Google right now, the #1 recommended search is they cutting food stamps? Not a joke. Pray against communist riots on November 1st. That's true. And do you know why that is? Because people who are educated make more money on average, something that these people can't get a grip on. Like these conservative right-wing extremist nutcases are super, super anti-education, talk about how it's destroying society and all this other shit. They've been saying this since forever. You know, a lot of authoritarian regimes say this type of thing. And for the record, that was a very clear, obvious dog whistle to black people being, like, unintelligent or whatever. But for the record, hang on. Let me look this up. White people account for the largest percentage of SNAP recipients at roughly 35 to 37%. They make up a plurality of the food stamp recipients. Here's another post here. I'm so anxious about this whole shutdown. We have 2 kids. One is 2, and we're waiting to get her tested for autism. She's a picky eater. Yes, we get WIC, but still, I don't know how we're going to pay rent, let alone our other bills, and get food. I'm just at my wit's end and overwhelmed. Plus, we're almost out of formula. He, her husband, asked his mother to buy a can until our WIC comes in. Her response was, "We voted for this." This is a MAGA woman who is suffering. One of those white people in that 37% who are on SNAP, presumably. WIC and SNAP are different, but, you know, she's on government programs anyway. She voted for this. I'm sorry you're suffering. I don't want your kids to suffer. But this is like a situation that you manufactured. You manufactured every part of it. So my sympathy is limited. My sympathy lies with people who are genuinely suffering and did nothing to deserve it. And they're suffering at your hands because of your decisions. Who's looking here? What's this one? Shoot, this is deleted. Let me pull up the twit. There was a video from Nick Fuentes that I actually wanted to cover and I completely forgot about. Is this the one?
A sweet, nice little guy that isn't threatening.
Is this new? No, this is not new. I was looking for the newer one.
$15. First time super chatter. Monday was...
No, not that.
Raise your...
No, that's not it either.
So...
Shoot. latest. I was really hoping to find. Is this the one?
A sweet, nice little guy that isn't threatening, that isn't going to rape her. A sweet.
No, that's not the one. Never mind. I was looking for one, but I didn't find it. Just kind of scanning through. What's this? Nope, seen that. Bishop Marvin Winus sparks controversy after publicly calling out women for donating $1,200. Oh my God, yes, I forgot about that. I want to cover that at some point, but not yet. What's this? Shoot. So it's kind of frustrating. Sometimes I grab links to videos or whatever, and before I can download them, they're privated or they're like erased or whatever. That's disappointing. Okay. Let me check my list of other stories I wanted to hit. Let's hit Joel Webbin. Webbin. Media. Is this a newer one?
I'm not saying it's easy to find out the actual history, but I'm saying all these young men who red-pilled in 2020.
Yes. So check this out. I'll show you guys Clippy, my program that I have here. I wrote this whole thing myself. I can paste a URL in, start queue, processing job, and if it's not 16:9, if it's vertical, it will resize it for me. That's what it's doing right now. It's processing. When it says processing, it's resizing it, adjusting the audio levels. It's almost done here. And there it is. It's finished. Why am I getting... why did I get 3 notifications? I have to fix that. They're all for the same thing? Analysis complete. That's different. Okay. I just built that notification system in earlier today. All right. Cool. Yes. This one was not... this is vertical, but they added black bars to the top and bottom, so that's kind of a flaw in my system, I guess. Anyway. Let's talk about Joel Webbin. I don't know if you know this guy, but he's basically like... he's a very famous pastor. He's a white nationalist and a neo-Nazi. Just listen to some of the things that he said recently.
Well, who are the victims currently in our American context? Well, I'll tell you, and I won't mince words. The actual victims in our American context today are heritage Americans.
Heritage Americans. What do you think that means? He's going to tell you.
If you are a man, if you are a Christian man, if you are a non-sodomite, gay, furry man, and if you are a white man, then you are objectively on the books, be it Ivy League schools, or be it the hiring processes of Fortune 500 companies, or be it certain tax brackets, or be it just the general cultural milieu, or even among the perception of your local elders at your local church. If you are a young, white, single, straight man, you are, in the year of our Lord 2025, here in these United States, a legitimate victim.
My God, dude. Like, the victim complex is wild with these people. How do you think these people are victims exactly? How are these people victims? The fact is, they're not. And he's using this as a method to justify victimizing others. He's using this as a method to justify his own hate and vile attitudes. And if you're not on board with that yet, just wait, I'll prove it. Listen to some of the vile, disgusting shit that he has to say here. Check this out. Which one is this? This is, yeah, here we go.
Women are atrocious today.
He's the victim, you see.
They are immodest. They're hoes. They're dumb, like literally intellectually unintelligent. They are shallow. They are deceitful. They are wicked. They are vile.
Women. Full stop. Women are vile. What was it he said? Women are hoes, are stupid, are just unintelligent. What is wrong with this person, dude?
They vote for trannies. I'm not making it up. It is a 45, objectively, 45-point difference.
What is a 45-point difference?
Between young men and young women today.
What's he talking about? Is he talking about voting? I think that's what he means. 45-point difference between who votes for Trump and who doesn't?
That's where we're at. 45-point difference. Women are radical progressives.
And that justifies the hateful garbage that comes out of his mouth about women. This is just disgusting, dude. To call women dumb like this. And trans people. Constant hate. Nothing but hateful, vile trash from this dude. Here's another video from him.
I'm not saying it's easy to find out the actual history, but I'm saying all these young men who red pilled in 2020, it is fairly easy, though, for them to look at history and find out that we had 1,500 years of Christendom. And then for the last 80 years, since World War II, we allegedly won, right. And yet all of the West looks like it lost. Since then, we've murdered 70 million.
Wait. I'm sorry. Wait a second. We won World War II, but it looks like we lost? What does he mean by that?
Lost. Since then, we've murdered 70 million children in the womb, just in the United States.
Yep.
And
this is garbage, dude. Embryos, literal single-celled organisms, are not children. I'm sorry. Aside from that, people have the right to make choices for their own bodies. Full stop. This is an interesting analogy that I heard not too long ago. Imagine somebody is breaking into your house in the middle of the night and they're taking half of your food. Are you within your rights to just lock your door at night? Even if it means that person is going to die, are you within your rights to lock the door so that they can't break in and take your food? The answer is yes, with no consequence. You are allowed to do that. That is a perfect analogy to pregnancy, especially in the earliest weeks, say 5 to 8 weeks. You can withdraw your resources and be completely within moral bounds. This abortion hate was weaponized by the far right, by Christianity primarily, over the past 50 years, since the 70s or the 80s. It really started getting bad. The right saw this issue and knew that they could get people whipped into an emotional blood frenzy over this, and they did, at any cost. Literally getting people so infuriated over this issue that is clear as day, moral, unless you look at it from some warped, skewed perspective. They got them whipped into a blood frenzy so much that they'd be willing to murder people, and that is exactly what has happened. Bill O'Reilly, for example, on Fox News, I think in the 2000s, got a guy murdered, Dr. Tiller. He was a doctor that I think worked at Planned Parenthood, maybe. Walked out of his church one day to the parking lot. Somebody pulls out a gun and shoots him. He called him Tiller the baby killer. Stochastic terrorism. That's all these people understand. These people being Joe Webbin and other far-right extremist nutcases like him. But okay, he's warping this completely out of perspective intentionally. And for the record, if that doesn't grab you, how about this? Numbers 5:11-23 specifically, explicitly instructs people to get an abortion under certain circumstances. Like if your wife cheats on you, you should get an abortion. It explains how to get an abortion. To go to the priest, he'll give her this concoction called bitter water, and it will abort the baby. It will abort the pregnancy if she cheated on you. So don't tell me this is a biblical position. It's not. The Bible says you should get an abortion in some circumstances. This is an emotional position that was fabricated by Republicans to garner support for their cause. That's it.
And we're cutting off the genitals of little kids.
Literally nobody is doing that. That is not happening. This is completely fabricated in your own head. Nobody stands for this. Nobody is doing this. Nobody wants this. And they're using it as a weapon against people again. When are people going to realize that Republicans have nothing good to offer? When are people going to realize that when Republicans run a government, they drive it straight into the fucking ground? Are they ever going to realize that? Is that ever going to connect? Republicans have been in control of the U.S. government since 2025. Now, where did that get you? Is your life materially better today than it was in 2024? The answer is no for the vast majority of people in the U.S. But they keep voting for him.
And we are flooding our nations and diluting the cultures and the heritages. And
he's saying we have people of other races, quote unquote, and that bothers him. He wants only white people in the United States. That's the complaint here.
And
with foreign immigrants
tearing down statues, and we're selling cathedrals and turning them into mosques.
So you're
literally nobody is tearing down churches and building mosques.
Telling me we won. It doesn't feel like it.
Yep.
It doesn't feel like we won.
I'm not sure what he means by that exactly, but I feel like what he means is maybe Germany should have won in World War II. Is that what he's saying? He's just an evil human being. Check these ones out, these videos from him.
We currently live at a wicked time with wicked rulers who are dominated by feminism and hate men. And so they change.
What feminists hate men? I'm sorry, I just cannot accept this. Are there some weird little nutcases out there who do? Probably. I've literally never met one in my entire fucking life. What are you smoking that you think feminists are out here talking about how they hate men and hope they die or some shit? You know, I'm honestly surprised that this false narrative of feminists aborting male... Sorry, God, there are fucking fruit flies everywhere, and I don't know where they're coming from. It's driving me up a wall. This false narrative where feminists are aborting their male pregnancies. I'm surprised that hasn't taken root. I mean, it's nonsense. That's not happening. That was never happening. But I'm surprised that these people haven't gone with that one yet, with that bullshit line.
The rule book. So what you're doing is not exercising your authority over men, but what we're doing is having to get creative with the wicked landscape, and you're ensuring that I have my full authority as a citizen, and that my authority, what the wicked rulers wanted to do is they wanted to strip away half of a man's authority, and what you're doing is you're conceding it back to me by voting in line with the decision that I make for our family. So,
wow, dude. So, wicked feminists stripped half of the man's authority away by allowing women to vote. This guy is about as low as they come. Check this one out.
the Christian ministers who are looking you in the eye right now and saying these disparities don't exist? Every young man in the world can pick up their phone and in 15 seconds can see that the average IQ in Haiti is 67.
Right.
And any Christian minister who denies that will not have any credibility.
Right. This is the old race and IQ argument. He is a race realist, apparently. Let me let you in on a little secret. Race isn't real. It's pseudoscience. It's a pseudoscientific, nonsensical concept from the 1800s, primarily. Before that, there were people who believed that their ethnicity was superior. You know, the Greeks had words for non-Greeks. It was barbarians. So they're around. It was around for a while that there were superior groups of people, but race ideology has been around since the 1700s or so. And it was invented to justify slavery and things like that. Just superiority. It's just as pseudoscientific as, I don't know, flat earth ideology. Race is not real. There are people who have genetic markers from certain ethnicities, like, I don't know, I think I'm, some percent Scottish and some percent, Wales. My mom, I think her family's from Wales. And I have some Native American and things like that. Those are ethnicities that you can trace in a DNA test. But race existed before DNA tests, before DNA even existed as a concept. There is no race. It's fake. It was always fake. And it's been used throughout history to justify superiority complexes. Now, what he said here, the average IQ in Haiti is 67. Maybe, that's possible. I think the average IQ in India is 72. You know why? Because the rural areas with a lack of proper sanitation, a lack of education, of resources generally, those areas kind of out, like they average out, they drag down the average or whatever. But if you pluck an Indian as a baby at 0 weeks old, you pluck him out of India or Haiti, and you put him in a family in a developed country with lots of resources, rich family, send them through school and everything, their IQ will be just as high as anybody else's in their community. IQ is an imperfect measurement. It's supposed to be an unbiased measurement that is independent of culture or whatever else, but it's just not. It just doesn't work that way. It's really a great measuring tool for what it's for, but he's misusing it and he's putting more weight in IQ than anybody ever should. If people have fewer resources, fewer education opportunities, their IQ just isn't going to be as high. That's just what it is. But instead of attributing it to the real problem, which is authoritarian governments, extremist groups destabilizing society in their region, a lack of resources and things like that, instead of attributing it to what it should be attributed to, those things, he's attributing it to race, this pseudoscientific bullshit idea of race that doesn't exist. Because he's racist. This is the definition of racist. Somebody that believes that race is real and you can measure someone's intelligence based on their race.
They won't. Credibility, but it is a sin to God as
because you're a liar.
Manifested reality.
You're a liar.
It's not true.
You cannot be a minister of the gospel and be a public liar.
Right.
That's you're disqualified from ministry, from lying. You can't be a liar and be a minister of the gospel.
he is a vile human being, dude. And that's just the tip of the iceberg with Joel Webb, and I have so much stuff from him that is just evil. Let me find some. Hang on. Execute some. Here you go. Here's one of the more psychotic ones. This guy really does not like women. I don't know what his problem is. I don't know who hurt him along the way, but he's got a serious issue with women, dude.
And if that were to occur, and the just penalties were to be enforced, you, the false accuser, is now put to death, and that's a public death. It's a public sentence, publicly carried out. Then the citizens of these United States of America, you know what they would do? Hashtag Me Too would end real fast.
So if you executed some people who had some false accusations, or that you believed had false accusations, even if they weren't actually false, or if they couldn't be fully verified because we're talking, you know, you reported it 5 years later or something, if you execute those people, the Me Too movement won't happen. And that's his goal. He doesn't want the Me Too movement to happen, apparently. That is absolutely wild to me.
How do you false accusing? Playing the victim when you're actually not?
Yeah, that's bad. Do you know what the percentage is? Roughly, what is it? Hang on, I got to get it right. I don't want to shoot from the hip here. It's hard to know exactly for sure, but it's estimated to be between 2 and 8%. Rates can vary depending on the study, the criteria used for false in the specific context, with higher rates sometimes found in cases involving child abuse allegations or custody disputes. So the rate is roughly the same as the percentage of people who believe that chocolate milk comes from brown cows. It doesn't happen very often, is the point. It's very uncommon. And when it does happen, send them to jail. I'm all in. Send them to jail. Charge them. I love it. Yes, make them face accountability for that. He's talking about executing them publicly. Even people who aren't for sure filing false allegations, just can't be 100% verified. They should be executed. That's fucking psychotic. You know what that's going to do to real victims, right? You know that's going to scare the shit out of people, and they're going to live in fear of being taken advantage of at any moment, and they're going to live in fear of reporting that. Is that the goal? I don't understand what the goal is here. What are you trying to do? The rate is so incredibly low anyway. We can deal with it without literally executing people. What is wrong with you? This guy is one of the most vile people on planet Earth. Seriously, I don't say that lightly. He is vile. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. He's just awful. Okay, let's see. I have some other stories to hit, but I might call it there. Let's see. There are a couple more. There's one more that I can hit at least. Let me just pull something up here real fast. Hold on. Con.
Yeah. Yes. Trump is president. I mean, this was, who could have done that?
Before the coronavirus broke out.
Hold on. Baker issued warnings about judgment and shakings in 2020.
The reason I don't put it on the air.
Wait, is Jonathan Cahn in this? Why do I have this? Wait.
The reason I don't put it on the air, this last chapter of this video, because
Oh my God, I accidentally. All right, one more time.
The reason I don't put it on the air, I would be drilled out of Christianity by a lot of people, because he literally says the coming of the Lord could be at this time. And it's because he said if he's coming back at this timing, he said there it is right there. And if he's right, we don't have much more than a decade left.
That's interesting.
One of those ancient gods or spirits was called the Enchantress.
Okay, cool. Let's hit this. All right, there's this guy named Jonathan Kahn. Oh, hang on, sorry. There's this guy named Jonathan Kahn. It's this fine-looking gentleman with this gorgeous smile right here. He decided to talk about Halloween. Now, we're past Halloween, obviously, but I found this after Halloween. It's so entertaining to listen to. Just listen to what he says here.
You're sending your children out to celebrate a holiday that focuses on evil, darkness, witches, spirits, death.
Yeah, same shit we've heard for like a decade or more, right? Yes, Halloween evil. This is the funny part, though.
To likely dress up as evil creatures, go to the houses of strangers, commit extortion or vandalism.
Extortion or vandalism? Trick or treat it should better be known as extortion or vandalism. He says trick or treat is extortion or vandalism. That's funny, dude. Oh, dude, I love the characterization. Extortion or vandalism? Hold up the little bag. That's good.
Commit extortion or vandalism, and then get diabetes.
And then get diabetes. That's what Halloween is all about. Oh my God, dude. So I go back and I'm looking at some of the other stuff that that Jonathan Kahn has had to say, and it gets absolutely psychotic. And I have another video I wanted to watch in a second about Halloween because, dude, Christian nationalists have this weird thing about Halloween. It's bizarre. Anyway, listen to Jonathan Kahn here. Check this out. He's Jewish. He's a Jewish apocalypticist. So he goes on Jim Bakker all the time and talks about how the end is going to come any 5 minutes now and validates all of Jim Bakker's Christian nonsense.
Before the coronavirus broke out, did you feel like something was coming? Because I know you've seen so many things in the future.
This is late April 2020. This is about when COVID was getting real and everybody was taking it seriously and being very careful.
Yeah. First, I was telling people. Well, first of all, there's much in the Harbinger that has to do with this. But, you know, I want to touch on.
Yeah, I got to plug your book there. Okay.
That. But also, I was telling people before this year began, months before, that I believe this was going to be a year of shaking, an important year, a critical year, a year of shaking.
Yes. Totally. Super important and critical year. Yep. Of shaking.
And for the purposes of God. And I told, and also, I mean, for a long time, we've been saying this is coming. You know, at the beginning of the year, I give a word for the year. And what I just looked over the notes today, what I shared. And what I shared was that I said I saw several scriptures that for this year linked to judgment and judgment. And
okay, so does that mean the end is here then? Is that what you're saying? By the way, 5 years old now, this video is. Any 5 minutes, right?
One of them about the Lord roaring from Zion and the causing the world, things of the world to dry up.
And would you be surprised to find that the end didn't come that year? Check this one out.
One of those ancient gods or spirits was called the Enchantress. From ancient times, she was connected to a sign. Do you know what it was? The rainbow. And do you know what she was the goddess of? Sexual licentiousness, sexual immorality.
So he's saying being gay is pagan.
Her ancient hymns declare that she has the power to turn a man into a woman and a woman into a man.
I'm sure I don't need to say, but like basically everything that he says is completely made up to fit his weird little understanding of the world. But, you know, that's not going to stop him from spreading trash.
She's the goddess that bends sexuality, blurs, merges gender. She breaks the line. She breaks the distinction between man and woman, male and female, boy and girl. It is this spirit which is now taking possession of our culture. And on the day that you redefine marriage, you place her sign on the nation's highest house.
Like, nobody is redefining marriage. Okay, this drives me absolutely up a fucking wall. When did it become okay to stick your nose in other people's business and impose your will on them? When did that become socially acceptable? Your right to swing your fist ends at the tip of my nose, right here. You can swing it anywhere you want, but right here. because then you're not exercising your rights anymore. You are violating my rights. If I want to get married to a dude, I don't, I'm married to a chick, but if I wanted to, that's none of your fucking business. He doesn't seem to get that. He doesn't seem to understand the concept of minding your own fucking business, which is really like what the Constitution is all about, right? Mind your own fucking business and let everybody live the life that they want to live, and the government can't intrude on your life in this way and that way. They can't do that thing or that thing. He doesn't get it. He doesn't want to get it, apparently. He wants to impose his will on others. He wants to control people's life by force. That is what Jim Baker and all his weird little nutcase sycophants are all about. Controlling other people's lives. But, you know, since we're talking about Jonathan Cahn, talking about Halloween and stuff, check this out. This is a video unrelated to Jonathan Cahn, but it's about Halloween, where an ex-Satanist warns Christians about Halloween. You guys ready? Buckle. I'm sorry. You guys ready for this? Buckle up.
Listen to what this ex-Satanist has to say about Christians celebrating Halloween.
So a lot of Christians, they think there's nothing wrong with, celebrating Halloween and all this stuff. And Casey, you being in Satanism and God delivering you from that, healing you and bringing you freedom, what are your thoughts?
So this guy on the right is Ukrainian and also connected to Greg Locke. He speaks at Greg Locke's church from time to time. And he's got a YouTube channel. He's got like 1 million subbies or something. I have no idea how he got that big, but he's a complete nutcase. So, Casey, tell us about this Satanism, this extortion, or what did Jonathan Cahn call it? Hold on, let me find it. He called it extortion or...
Houses of strangers.
Oh, tell us about this holiday that celebrates extortion or vandalism.
What are your thoughts about that?
October 31st is like the ultimate day. It starts, it's like Christians, Easter and Christmas all rolled in together. The celebration usually starts at dusk and goes on. The golden hour is 11 p.m. to midnight. That's when the most demonic forces are out and about and active.
Yeah, ex-Satanist, totally.
People should not participate in any way, shape, or form because you are worshiping the devil. There is no two ways about it. I mean,
there's another way. It isn't just worshiping the devil. It's also getting candy. There's there's that aspect to it. How do you work that into your weird little worldview?
He's real happy that Christians allow their kids to serve him one night of the year.
If you want to learn more about spiritual warfare, click follow or subscribe.
Oh my God, dude. Learn more about spiritual warfare. This is insane. Like, Christian nationalists are just off their fucking rockers, man. They are maybe the most bizarre religious group in America with this much power. I would say they're definitely way, way too powerful and way too fucking weird to have that power. Anyway, tell me what you think in the comments. Let's see. It's 2:13 to 2:24. That one was way, way shorter than I intended, but that's okay. Let's see here. Got Halloween. Okay. I guess we could cover...
This is a story about how AI is taking over healthcare.
Hang on, give me a second. Just check what... Oh, I was going to cover Conservapedia. I forgot about that. Okay, apparently, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but Elon Musk has created something called Grokopedia. It's basically like Wikipedia, but it was created by Grok. And apparently it's got some really wild stuff in there. Like, I've only gotten to kind of... Oh, Jesus Christ, a cat just jumped in my lap. It startled me. I've only had an opportunity to kind of glance through some of it, but there is some real wild stuff in there, I guess. So I just kind of wanted to talk about this article on NPR about Grokpedia and some of the wild stuff that's on it. And I want to talk about Conservapedia. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but this has been around for like a long time, like decades. Hold on. And it's basically the Christian version of Wikipedia. What are you doing, Miki? It's the Christian version of Wikipedia. And I just like take a look at just a couple of here, let's see. Let's just take a look at the E equals MC squared Conservapedia. Oh no. Wait, what the hell is happening? What is going on right now? Bro, is Conservapedia down? I've never seen this before. This is why. Oh, there she goes. Okay, she's sick of me. Never mind. Let me fix it. Hang on. One second. Just gotta fix it. A little bit more, I think. Whoop. No, a little more. Little bit more. That'll do, I think. Just... It's hard to get it exactly right. What the hell is going on with Conservapedia right now? Can I not look at Conservapedia? Let me check Conservapedia on the Wayback Machine. Why is Conservapedia down? Let's check gun control. I guess some of it is up. Tchaikovsky? Germany? Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Okay, look. Germany is under the evolution umbrella, apparently. I don't know what Germany has to do with evolution. Vladimir Putin, feminism. Let's look at feminism. Feminism is a destructive ideology that can cause alienation between women and men. Feminism denies or downplays differences between men and women. Feminism opposes homemaking, child rearing, and homeschooling while promoting participation by women in predominantly male activities, regardless of their life pursuits or interests. Most prominent modern feminists support abortion and promote misandry. Really? Misandry, you say? If you don't know what misandry is, that's gendered hate against men. They say that most feminists hate men, okay? I mean, my God, dude, Conservapedia is absolutely unglued from reality. But my point is, I'm not sure why, like, Grokpedia even needs to exist. But take a look at what NPR reported about Grokpedia. This article is titled, What Wikipedia and Grokpedia Are Saying About Each Other, October 29th, 2025. Elon Musk's Grokpedia encyclopedia is now online, challenging volunteer-edited Wikipedia with a new tool that incorporates Grok, the large language model chatbot developed by Musk's artificial intelligence company, XAI. Musk is positioning Grokpedia as an alternative to Wikipedia, which he called Wokepedia in an X post last December. Musk has lofty ambitions for the new encyclopedia. His stated goal is to create an open-source, comprehensive collection of all knowledge. That already exists, brother. It's called Wikipedia. And this wouldn't be open source. Anyway, Grokpedia isn't open source... Grokpedia is not open source. Grok isn't open source. People like Elon Musk claim it's open source, but it isn't. The weights and biases are open to the public, I believe. But the back end, the training process, the code, that's not open source as far as I understand it. Critics and pundits are busy comparing the two sites and how they present a range of controversial topics. But we can also learn about some of their differences by asking a simple question. What do Wikipedia and Grokopedia say about each other? A search for Wikipedia on Grokopedia yielded 6,000 results early Wednesday, a number that reflects both the work that's gone into Grokopedia and the challenge of competing with an encyclopedia that's been growing for nearly 25 years. On Wikipedia, a search for Grokopedia returned 13 results. Meanwhile, 2 days after its Monday launch, a search for Grokopedia on Grokopedia did not return a dedicated entry. Instead, the 8 search results ranged from a general entry about online encyclopedias to 7 entries primarily about Wikipedia. Typing Grokopedia into Grokopedia's URL to see if the new encyclopedia might have an entry that's not yet searchable returns a message. This page doesn't exist yet. Dude, I'm getting really sick of saying the word Grokopedia. Or just the suffix apedia. I'm getting really sick of that. Bias and imitation. For the record, Wikipedia is an incredible source of knowledge. Seriously, like our teachers used to tell us, don't use Wikipedia, it's trash. It's really not. It's editable by anybody, but they have to cite sources, and there are moderators that watch for vandalism. And, you know, Wikipedia vandalism does happen from time to time. And sometimes it gets things wrong. You know, when I was studying World War II to write my book, Was Hitler an Atheist? Amazon and Audible, if you want to read it. I looked through Wikipedia for sources to see what was cited there. And I looked up the most cited authors, and I contacted them. And actually, I'm in communication with some of like the world's scholars on Bonhoeffer, for example. The woman who translated every book of Dietrich Bonhoeffer into English. I spoke to her. I asked her history questions and stuff when I was writing my book. And I got all of those sources, and I gained access to those sources, those names of experts from Wikipedia. It's a very useful website. From time to time, you do find something wrong on there. You know, I went to the Martin Niemöller Wikipedia page and found that there were some things in his biography that were not right, and I corrected them. I rewrote sections of Martin Niemöller's page. You'll probably find my name in there, in the editors or whatever. It's an incredibly useful tool. And as a result, it's used in AI training. It's a standard AI training data set, Wikipedia is. Because it contains the whole of human knowledge as far as we can put it down on paper. Or put it down on bits. It doesn't need to be rewritten by an AI. It's fine the way it is. Anyway, let's keep reading. On its page about Wikipedia, Grokopedia says the site is renowned for its unprecedented scale, accessibility, and role in democratizing information. But Grokopedia also says Wikipedia is the subject of persistent criticisms regarding factual reliability, susceptibility to vandalism and hoaxes, and systemic ideological biases, particularly a left-leaning slant in coverage of political figures and topics. I'm sorry, it's just not. It's just not politically biased. You know what is politically biased? Reality. Reality has a left-leaning bias, whether you like that fact or not. In the United States today, Republicans are so unglued from reality that basic factual information goes against their core ideology. The lengthy article uses forms of the word bias dozens of times. It alleges that Wikipedia suffers from ideological skew to the left and states that the site's preference for a neutral point of view drawn from reliable sources can instead reinforce narratives that align with institutional biases in academia and media. Give it a fucking rest, dude. You know there's a difference between objectivity and neutrality? They're not the same. Sometimes neutrality is the incorrect position. For example, is the Earth round or is it flat? The neutral position would be, I don't know. The objective, correct position would be, it's round. It's a sphere, a globular spheroid. But Elon Musk is trying to paint Wikipedia as some kind of woke source of information because it's not neutral on things that should be objective. It is objective. So he's creating a source of information that's not only neutral, but leans right. Sorry, man, that already exists. It's called Conservapedia, and it's fucking insane. I'm kind of disappointed that Conservapedia is only working a little bit right now. I was really hoping to find some shit on evolution. Here's evolution. I was actually looking for E equals MC squared. Let me look for relativity. Here we go. Counter examples to relativity on Conservapedia. I mean, any anti-science position you can imagine is on here. This website is so insane. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this before, but it's nuts. Oh, here we go. No, this is what I was looking for right here. E equals MC squared. If you don't know what that formula means, Einstein came up with it, and it basically, it's the conversion between energy and matter. Energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. That's how much energy you get out of an atomic explosion, for example. E equals MC squared asserts that the energy in an unmoving particle is equal to the square of the speed of light times the mass of that particle. The complete form, when applied to moving objects, is E squared equals MC squared plus PC squared, where P represents momentum, blah, blah, blah. Now, just check this out. In fact, no theory has successfully unified the laws governing mass, i.e. gravity, with the laws governing light, i.e. electromagnetism, and numerous attempts to derive E equals MC squared from first principles have failed. Political pressure, however, has since made it impossible for anyone pursuing an academic career in science to even question the validity of this nonsensical equation. E equals MC squared is nonsensical, it says. Simply put, E equals MC squared is liberal claptrap. Seriously. God, it's so fucking insane, dude. This is what I'm talking about. Neutrality bias. This website doesn't even have neutrality bias. This is just insanity packaged into a website. E equals MC squared is liberal claptrap. And I love that they have these little footnotes here, these little references. What happens when I hover over the 3 here? Let's see what we got. 5 lectures at Wikiversity. The 4th one purports to derive the formula using the assumptions in the what the equation means section. Look, the footnotes, the references aren't even references. They're just asserting more shit. This reference says much of the 20th century physics is centered around the interactions between photons, light, and fermionic matter. And much more than $1 billion has been spent on this, but that doesn't imply that they have been unified. What the fuck? Why didn't you just put that in the paragraph? The sources are supposed to link to proof of what you're saying. I mean, seriously, this website is fucking insane. And that is what I expect Grokpedia to be eventually. Although Grokpedia is a little bit more subtle about it, more measured. But it is slipping in nonsense, actually. Hang on, let me look. Wait. Grokopedia. Let me look up this one article. Hold on. Damn it. God, I can't stand paywalls. I need to remove any reference of bypassing paywalls because I'm not sure that... Yeah. All right, let's see. Here we go. This is on a Wired article, I believe, about gay marriage on Grokopedia. Grokopedia is turning into Conservapedia. It basically is Conservapedia. The Grokopedia entry about the slavery of African Americans in the U.S. includes a section outlining numerous ideological justifications, quote-unquote, made for slavery, including the shift from necessary evil to positive good. The end of the entry focuses on criticisms of the 1619 Project, which it says incorrectly framed slavery as the central engine of the nation's political, economic, and cultural development. Entries for more recent historical events put conservative perspectives at the center. When Wired searched for gay marriage in Grokopedia, no entry popped up, but one of the on-screen suggestions was for gay porn instead. The entry in Grokopedia falsely states that the proliferation of adult entertainment exacerbated the HIV/AIDS epidemic in the 80s. Holy shit. Quote, this marked the onset of what would become a devastating crisis disproportionately affecting gay male communities, where behaviors idealized in adult entertainment, such as unprotected, receptive, whatever. I'm trying to be careful about what I say for monetization reasons and everything. And multiple anonymous partners align directly with primary transmission routes, leading to rapid seroconversion rates, the Grokopedia entry claims. XAI did not immediately return a request for comment. The Grokopedia entry for transgender includes 2 mentions of transgenderism, a term commonly used to denigrate trans people. The entry also refers to trans women as biological males who have generated significant conflicts, primarily centered on risks to women's safety, privacy, and sex-based protections established to mitigate male-perpetrated violence. The opening section highlights social media as a potential contagion that is increasing the number of trans people. Wired magazine's entry on Grokopedia mentions Musk's own criticism of the publication. High-profile detractors, including Elon Musk in February 2025, have labeled Wired as devolving into far left-wing propaganda, arguing it abandoned technology-focused reporting for ideologically driven narratives that normalize heavy-handed oversight of private enterprise, the entry says. Grokopedia also claims Wired is emblematic of the mainstream media's systemic leftward lean. That's wild, dude. It's basically Conservapedia, except not quite as insane. It hasn't reached the point of saying that E equals MC squared is liberal claptrap. But it's close. It's getting there. That is wild. Hold on, let me check my timestamps. 2:24. To 2:44 so far. Okay, I've got enough time. Anyway, let's take a look back at the NPR article here. Actually, let's not look at the NPR article. Let's look at more... Hold on. Close. Here we go. The Scopes trial. Oh my God, there's so much crazy shit on here. Whoop. Wait, where did it go? I was just looking. Greatest conservative TV shows, Trump's deregulation, Christianity. Hey, let's check the Christianity entry on Conservapedia. See what they have to say for themselves here. Hello? You gonna load? What's going on here? It's apparently not maintained very well. The hell is happening? There we go. Okay. Christianity is the world's largest religion, having approximately 2.6 billion followers in 2024. In terms of its geographic distribution, Christianity is the most globally diverse religion. Okay, maybe. Christianity has always been the best way to turn one's life around, to achieve more, to overcome addiction and anxiety, and to enjoy life to a much greater extent. Okay. Christianity brings God closest to mankind through Jesus and his son, through Jesus as the Son of God. Literally, Christianity means of Christ, or belonging to Christ, or being like Christ. And now what do the footnotes say here? Let's see. SermonCentral.com is cited here, apparently. And number 5, the early Christian faith was sometimes called that way, and its adherents were also called Nazarenes, evidently after the city of Nazareth where Jesus lived. Okay. This is fucking insane, dude. The title Christian is also used in Acts, blah, blah, blah. Let's scroll down a bit. History of Christianity. Christianity's teachings are derived from the life, teachings, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ in the 1st century AD. And the footnote on this? Christianity, Britannica. Wow. Why did they even bother adding a footnote to that? Seriously. The historicity of Jesus focuses on whether Jesus Christ existed as a real historical person or whether he is simply a mythological imagination. The evidence for the existence of Jesus is overwhelming, as is agreed upon by every professor in every academic institution in every relevant field in the world. Wow, they cited Bart Ehrman. I actually agree with that. I think so. Yes. Not every academic institution in every relevant field, and not by every professor. No, that's factually false. However, the consensus of scientists, of historians, agree Jesus was probably a real person. There are detractors, and they have some interesting arguments that I don't think I agree with, because I'm not a historian. I'm just going with what the historians say. But I do find it interesting. The Conservapedia conveniently trusts historians and scientists when it works in their favor, right? By the way, guys, do me a favor. Sign up for my Patreon. You don't have to follow, or you don't have to donate, but just follow me there if you can. I would really appreciate that. owenmorgan.com/Patreon or patreon.com/telltaleatheist. Either one gets you there. Here, click this link. Wait, click this link. Hang on. There, click that. Click on that and follow me. Christian beliefs are well supported by a large body of compelling evidence. No? Theologians over 2 millennia have debated a definitive summary of the Christian faith. No, they haven't. Why are there so many denominations if they have debated a definitive summary of the Christian faith? While its interpretations vary drastically, probably the most commonly accepted statement of faith is the Niceno-Constantinopolitan, I think. Wait, I'm going to get this. Constantinopolitan Creed. The Constantinopolitan Creed. Yes, the Niceno-Constantinopolitan Creed. That's the one. Christians and Christian denominations agree on many points of doctrine while disagreeing on some. According to an online Harris poll from 2003, 99% of all American Christians believe in God. Well, no fucking shit, really? 96% in the resurrection of Jesus Christ, 93% in heaven, 93% in the virgin birth. Now, why are you even giving us these fucking statistics? Seriously, I don't understand the relevance here. Yes, obviously Christians believe in God. What? Nonetheless, the creed offers a general overall picture of what Christian theology looks like. Jesus Christ, dude. These people are insane. And I'm telling you, this is what Elon Musk is trying to create with Grokkapedia. It's nuts. Wikipedia is just fine. You don't need to make a good thing worse. Tell me what you think in the comments. All right, so that was 248. Whoop. Awesome. Also, if I had a kid right now, I'd be so terrified for their education. Oh, I know. I know. Lucky for me, you know, I know that I can homeschool if it got to that point, and it would be okay. I think I could teach my kid adequately. But you guys remember that show, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Most people, the majority, I would argue, in the United States are not smarter than a fifth grader and are not qualified to teach their children, to homeschool their children. He wants to execute rape victims for speaking up. He absolutely does. He is a vile, evil human being, dude. I don't know how else to say it. When women hate men, we avoid them. That's all, right? Isn't it wild when a terrible person starts worrying about their legacy? Okay, I hit that one. Anyway, yeah. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you coming, hanging out. It's been fun. Hopefully, I'll see you on Wednesday, 10:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. I'm going to be covering more really interesting stuff, okay? All right, check me out on Patreon, owenmorgan.com/Patreon. I will talk to you